Are you ready to be entertained with pointless jibber-jabber and senseless small talk? If so, then you have come to the right place. It's the Todd Cook Show, starring Todd Cook, and featuring music by local and national artists. Now, broadcasting from his garage, here is Todd Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast. You're listening to episode 2-11. I am here, you are here, I am talking, you are listening. This is the Todd Cook Show. I am Todd Cook. This is episode, as I said, 2-11. That means season 2, episode 11 of the Todd Cook Show. I need to turn my microphone up just a little bit, looks like, and maybe just a little bit more, and that sounds a lot better. All right, normally this is the time of the program right here at the beginning where I will tell you a little bit about everything I'm going to talk about on this show, but I'm not going to do that today. You're just going to have to listen and see what words come out of my mouth, because I'm not going to give you any idea of what I might be talking about. You just have to wait and see. I'm just going to start the show by doing a bit I haven't done in a long time, a little bit called Don't Say It, Sing It.
Please don't say it, sing it. Please don't say it, sing it. Your story is so boring, I'm gonna start snoring. Please don't say it, sing it.
All right, this is the great game that is sweeping across the country. This is where sometimes on this program, if you listen with any kind of consistent basis, you know that I sometimes can tell some stories that are kind of boring at times, and there are other times that they are so boring, they are unbearable, that I would not even tell them without playing this little game to make it a little more enjoyable. And this is one of those times. As I was trying to come up with something to talk about in this episode, I could not think of anything extremely exciting, or at least not enough topics that were exciting, that I decided I was going to tell you about making scrambled eggs this morning. Now, that normally would be really boring, and nobody else on any other podcast would ever spend any time telling you about making scrambled eggs, but I'm going to sing it instead of saying it. Or as the name of the game is, don't say it, sing it. And here's how it works if you don't remember. I will start telling the story, and I got my lovely assistant here on my right, and every time she starts getting a little boring, after 10, 15 seconds of me telling the story, and she starts getting a little bored with the story, then she's going to hit this bell. And from that point on, I need to start singing the story instead of saying the story. And I can't just sing it anyway. I have to sing it to the tune of Mary Had a Little Lamb. So it's a quite simple little game here. I start telling you the story about me making scrambled eggs this morning, and when she gets bored every few seconds, she's going to hit this right there, and then I will start singing the story to the tune of Mary Had a Little Lamb. Pretty easy, huh? All right, here we go. And like I said, this is just because this could be one of those stories that would just be too boring, even for my little podcast here. So here we go. This morning I got up and I decided that I was going to make some scrambled eggs. And I make scrambled eggs probably 2 or 3 times a week. Most of the time, with a little ground up sausage inside there. And this morning was no different. I wanted scrambled eggs, but I didn't want to do them the same way. So I got on YouTube, and I started to look up different possible ways to make scrambled eggs, and I came up with a recipe or a little video by Gordon Ramsay, the guy that's on TV a lot. And I figured if he's on TV and he is a really good chef, he must know how to make scrambled eggs. So I thought I'd watch his video and get a few little tips, because my scrambled eggs are always pretty much the same. I thought I'd try something a little different. But one thing, he did was he made them, instead of making them in a frying pan, he was making them in like a little a stainless steel pot. And he cracked 3 eggs in it and started to use a spatula to stir them up and make them scrambled. I thought that was really cool. And by the way, a spatula is not what I always thought a spatula was. My wife had to correct me on this. I used to call what you flip an egg with or a pancake with, I used to call that a spatula, but a spatula is actually the things with the wooden handle and the little rubber thing at the end, almost like a, I don't know what you call it, but it's a spatula that you would use to scrape, pancake batter into the pan or something like that. But I started doing it just like on the video, and I was doing a good job, but I still had a little problem having the egg stick on the bottom. And he said that if you scramble them before you put them in the pan, which I would always do, and I'd actually add some milk, scramble them in a bowl and then pour them in the pan. He said that they get all watery and it's just not going to work good. And so I didn't do that. I put them in the little stainless steel pan, and he said you got to stir it a little bit and take it off the stove, because the problem is scrambled eggs usually get overdone. That's why they kind of have a rubbery texture. So you got to be really careful. You just stir them a little bit, and then you take it off of the stove and then put it back on just for a few seconds, and then take it back off, and the eggs, even when they're not on the heat, will still cook because the pan's hot. And he said that's the key to it, is not overcooking it. And at some point, right towards the end, he added a little something in there called, what was it called? It's called cream fraiche, or something like that. And I had no idea what cream fraiche was. So I just used a little cream cheese instead, and that seemed to work fine. And so my assistant's trying to push the button, but she's not doing a very good job. No, you must not have. Well, wait again. Let me start my story again. In the middle of it, at some point, make sure you hit the button this time. I saw your hand move there. I'm trying not to watch you, but I could see outside my peripheral vision there that something wasn't going right. Okay, where was I at here? I didn't know what cream fraiche was, so I just used a little cream cheese and put it in there right as it was still pretty runny. It was kind of weird. He said as you start stirring it with the spatula, and you will start to see the eggs turn into thickness, so they look like scrambled eggs. But before they turn all the way, you got to take them off of the heat, and then you let them actually cook themselves off the heat. So just that little bit of heat that's on the bottom of the pan is enough to finish cooking them, and that's how you want to do it. And I added some spices to it afterwards, which is what he said to do. So instead of cream cheese or cream fraiche, I used cream cheese, and but I did everything exactly how he said, and he was right. My scrambled eggs were much different than they usually are. And that's it, folks. That's the end of that game. That's the end of Don't Say It, Sing It.
Please don't say it, sing it. Please don't say it, sing it. Your story is so boring, I'm gonna start snoring. Please don't say it, sing it.
That is the best game ever invented. The best little radio bit in the history of radio bits. The best little podcast bit in the history of podcast bits. It's called Don't Say It, Sing It. And you can play it at home by yourself. If your husband or your wife is telling you some kind of a story and you're getting kind of bored with it, just keep one of those little bells next to you. And when you can't stand it any longer, just hit that bell and make them sing it. And you just tell them, say, don't say it, sing it, and hit that little bell. All right, and that brings me to my first commercial break coming up right now. Once again, I'm not going to tell you what I'm talking about next. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. But I got a commercial coming up right now. This is for the folks in the Wichita, Kansas area. This commercial is for you.
You're listening to The Todd Cook Show.
Hi, Todd Cook here. Do you like going out on Friday or Saturday nights for some supper and live music, but you're not into the bar scene? Because let's face it, when the alcohol starts to flow, those places can get a little loud and a bit rowdy. Sometimes to the point that it becomes difficult for you to enjoy your food or the music. Do you wish that there was a place that had good food, good music, but a less distracting atmosphere? A place that you can enjoy the food and the music, but still get home at a decent hour? Well, that place does exist, and it's right here in Wichita on the corner of Douglas and Hillside, or 110 South Hillside to be exact. It's called The Kiln. They have live music every Friday and Saturday night, starting at 7 p.m. and ending at 9. The Kiln is a Christian-ran, non-alcoholic establishment that operates solely on donations. And they always have great food and great entertainment. And one of the best parts, you don't need a babysitter. You can bring the kids with you. So for more information, contact Mike through the Facebook page. The Kiln, K-I-L-N, and be sure to check it out yourself this Friday or Saturday night, 110 South Hillside, corner of Douglas and Hillside in Wichita. The Kiln, where they are always glad you came.
His lips are moving, but he ain't saying anything. Todd Cook.
Boy, ain't that the truth. I think that is usually the truth with me. Most of the time my lips are moving, I'm not saying much at all. You're listening to The Todd Cook Show. The Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is my email address. The Todd Cook Show at gmail.com. I'm going to have to get me another assistant. I had my wife come down here, and all she had to do was hit that space bar every now and then. And that's why I put the sound effect, the ding sound on the space bar, was because it's a big button. It's the biggest button on the keyboard, and I figured it'd be easy for her to hit to make that noise, but she actually missed it a couple times there. I knew something wasn't going right when I looked out the corner of my eye, and I could see her like with her hands up, like she didn't know if she hit it or not. Because I guess she did hit it, and since I didn't start singing, she was like, well, maybe he didn't hear it. And anyway, we got that straightened out. And I'm only kidding, of course. My wife is always the best assistant. She's the only one I have available, so she's going to have to do. All right. I'm not going to tell you too much about what I'm going to talk about in the rest of the show, but I will mention that I have music by Robin Roberts and Billy Preston coming up right at the end of this break, so you don't want to miss that. Robin Roberts and Billy Preston, I just saw them at the Kiln, which you just heard about in that previous commercial. I just saw them at the Kiln, I guess it was last night, Saturday night, there, and they were there, and they're always really good. I enjoyed listening to them a lot. I'm going to play one of their songs in just a moment, so stay tuned. Now I want to tell you about how we went shopping for clothes, school clothes for my son. I think I mentioned that on the last program, but now I want to talk about how there are lots of different kinds of jeans now. I remember back when I was a kid, jeans were jeans. You know, it's either Levi or Wrangler or Russell's or whatever, you know, some of the cheaper jeans that my parents bought for me might have been. But jeans were jeans, basically. And now there's all kinds of jeans. There's straight leg jeans, and there's boot cut jeans, and there's loose fit jeans, and there's carpenter jeans, and then my very favorite of all time, skinny jeans. Now, what in the world does skinny jeans mean? Well, let me tell you, skinny jeans mean that you have to be really skinny to wear these jeans. And I don't mean just kind of thin. You know, I'm kind of thin. And I don't mean that you just have to be fit or athletic. I mean, you got to be skinny. Skinny. I'm talking, if you weigh an ounce over 100 pounds, you can't find any skinny jeans that are going to look good on you. So don't even try, okay? And I've always wondered, at times, if I could ever pull off skinny jeans. Now, I know I could not. I would look ridiculous in skinny jeans. And tell you the truth, I think most people that wear skinny jeans look ridiculous in them. But that's a whole nother story there. But I've had jeans on before in the past where different brands will fit differently. You try a pair of Lee's on, they'll fit one way, and a pair of Guess jeans or like the ones I buy. I just happen to find these ones that I bought at Sam's Club. They're a Maker's Mark, I guess, is the name of the. Is that correct? Maker's Mark? No, that's the name of a whiskey. Members Mark, something like that. M&M. And bought these jeans, and I wear a size. I don't mind saying. I guess I'll say it on the podcast. I don't care. I'm not as thin as I was in high school, but I wear a size 34, 32. Okay, and it used to be 32, 32. Now it's 34, 32, and those I wear a belt. So, but like I said, different brands fit differently. But I found these ones at Sam Club, Members Mark, that 34, 32. They fit perfectly. I've had some, fit nice around the waist, but they're thick through the thighs. Others that are loose around the thighs, but thick are tight around the waist. And some that seem too long, although they're all supposed to be 34, 32s, but they all fit differently. I've had some jeans where I go into the fitting room and I have a little struggle, trying to get them over my butt or something, or trying to get them over my thighs. But I think with skinny jeans, I would have trouble getting them over my feet. Those things are crazy. The bottom of the leg, back in the 70s, they had bell bottoms, which the bottom of the leg was like, 2 feet wide. And then, as I was in school, they got a little bit smaller. But these skinny jeans, they look like they're a 2-inch, diameter circle at the bottom. How would I ever get my size 13 feet in there? I could just see myself trying to try one of those skinny jeans on and seeing my big toe, slicing, ripping a tear down the middle of the shin of the jeans, trying to get them on. I wouldn't be able to do it. I could not pull off skinny jeans at all. I don't know how people get them on. I'd be doing like the ballerina, pointing my toe as sharply as I could, trying to, thinking small, trying to get my foot small, my leg, all perfectly straight and parallel, and trying to pull those jeans up, and it just would not be working. You got to have small feet and be skinny. You got to be like, Popeye's girlfriend. What was her name? Olive Oil. That's how skinny you got to be, and you must have to have really small feet. Like I said, there's jeans I'd have trouble getting over my butt. Some I'd have trouble getting over my thighs, maybe. I wouldn't be able to get skinny jeans over my feet. I mean, it would be a real issue. I could see it as having to call the fire department or something, and just imagine the firemen be like, what's this call about? Well, it's another guy on 123 Elm Street. Some 38-year-old guy was wondering what he'd look like in skinny jeans, and he tried to put him on, and he couldn't get him out. He couldn't get them all the way on, and now he's stuck, and they have to, come with the jaws of life or, a big pair of scissors or something and cut me out of my skinny jeans. But, yeah, back in the day, it was easy. You just go find the pair of jeans that's the right size and put them on. Now, for the ladies, it was probably different. I know I don't even understand the lady sizes. They don't have an end seam and a waist size. It's just like one size, and I don't understand how that works. And I guess it's one of those deals. That's probably why women always are complaining that they have a hard time finding jeans that fit right. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe instead of just saying, it's a size, 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever, maybe they need to do the waist and the legs and the length of the legs and the waist and all that stuff as well. But they don't. And they don't do that with the little kids' clothes either. Johnny's 6 years old. I think we tried on size 6, and that was a little small, and I think 8 was too big. We settled for 7. 7's kind of long in the leg, but it's the best we could do. So I don't know why they can't get more specific with women's jeans and with little boys or little girl jeans, but with men's jeans, it's nice. So, waist size, leg size, and that's all you need. And it seems to work out pretty good for me, but I could never, ever do skinny jeans. All right, let's play a song by Robin Roberts and Billy Preston. This song is called Where the Bluegrass Grows. It's about the best music festival in the history of planet Earth, the Bluegrass Walnut Valley Festival down in Winfield, Kansas, which I would go to every year without miss unless there's something extraordinary going on. And that something extraordinary might happen this year, so I might possibly miss it. I'm going to try to go down for at least a one night down there because I love it so much. But my wife is expecting, and right about the time of the festival, that baby's going to be really close to wanting to get out of there. So there's not too many things I'd miss that festival for, but the birth of my daughter would be one of them. And but anyway, I'm going to play this song by Robin Roberts and Billy Preston. It's called Where the Bluegrass Grows here on the Todd Cook Show.
I told the boss man so he'd know, hey, I'm going to Winfield. I'm gonna camp down by the river in the pecan grove. I'm gonna jam all night with the ghost of Split Lip Array Field. Spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the shade by a stage where the bluegrass grows. Man laughed and said, you must be crazy if you think that I would ever let you go. That bluegrass talk is crap, you're just lazy. Then he laughed and spit tobacco on the floor. He laughed laughed and spit tobacco on the floor. I said, mister, are you listening? Did you hear me say I'm going to Winfield? I'm gonna camp down by the river in the pecan grove. I'm gonna jam all night with the ghost, a split lip array field. Spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the shade by a stage where the bluegrass grows. The boss man laughed and said, you must be crazy if you think you'll have a job when you get back. And if there's three things that I hate, it's dumb and lazy. Then he smiled and said, what do you think of that? He smiled and said, what do you think of that? I said, mister, are you listening? Did you hear me say I'm going to Winfield? I'm gonna camp down by the river in the pecan grove. I'm gonna jam all night with the ghost, the split lip array field. Spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the shade by a stage where the bluegrass grows. Told the boss man so he'd know, hey, I'm going to Winfield. I'm gonna camp down by the river in the pecan grove. I'm gonna jam all night with the ghost, a split lip array field. Spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows. Spend my days in the shade by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows.
Robin Roberts and Billy Preston with Where the Bluegrass Grows. You can look them up on iTunes. Robin Roberts and Billy Preston on iTunes. You can find that song and many other songs that they have written right there on iTunes. You can also go to rr-bp.com. rr-bp.com. That's for Robin Roberts and Billy Preston.com. That song was brought to you by B&B Towing. You need a tow, you need a winch out, you need a jump start, you've been locked out of your vehicle, need somebody to help you get back in, you ran out of gas, you need somebody to deliver some fuel to you, you got an old junker out in your front yard or your front driveway or your backyard or your side driveway, anywhere that you don't want it to be there anymore, you need to call Cheyenne Brown at B&B Towing. This is for all the folks out there in Wichita, Kansas area. 316-214-4021. He's out of Mulvane, Kansas. He's a 20-year veteran of the United States Air Force. You need any kind of towing service, call him. Cheyenne Brown, B&B Towing, 316-214-4021. And I'll be right back.
The Todd Cook Show will be right back.
Hi, everybody. Do you live in the Wichita area? Are you looking for a great place for lunch or dinner? Do you love live acoustic music but don't know where to go? Try the Artichoke Sandwich Bar. It is located on the corner of Broadway and Murdoch in Wichita, and it is a fantastic place to eat and listen to live music. It is located on the corner of Broadway and Murdoch in Wichita, and what goes better with a sandwich than a cold beer? So look up the Artichoke Bar on Facebook today to find out when they are opened and what musical artist is performing next. They just celebrated their 30th year in business, so you know they're doing something right. The Artichoke Sandwich Bar, 811 North Broadway, Wichita, Kansas, where everything is okie dokie artichoke.
Charlie Brown's teacher is easier to understand than he is. Todd.
All right, I am back. I got one more segment here. The Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is the best way to get a hold of me. Write me an email sometime. Let me know what you think of my podcast. If it's a great email, who knows, maybe someday I will read that email right here on the podcast. All right, I got this last segment here, and on this last segment, I'm going to spend a little time talking about my war that I am waging right now. You've heard about the war on drugs and the war on poverty, and the war on terrorism. Those are all very important wars, by the way. This one's not quite as important, but to me it's quite important. It's the war on the weeds in my backyard. Now, listen, I've talked about this before on my podcast. I don't like weeds. I hate weeds, which is why I'm waging a war against them. But here's the deal. I've had a lot of success. You know, it's been a long war. I've won some battles. I've lost others. And, for example, I have a raised garden in my backyard. And it was, when we moved in here, it was nothing but weeds and really tall, like trees, you know, that were growing in there, those little trees that were growing up everywhere. I've got that all cleared out, and those haven't grown back at all. You know, I got to get up there and, you know, just kind of mow it on occasion. It's just a grassy. I don't do a garden anymore because it's Kansas and it's always too hot or too rainy or too much hail or whatever. And every time I tried, you know, I got limited results there. But there's another section right on the other side of the shed from the garden, about the same size of the garden, but it's not elevated. And I've been trying to get things under control back there. And there was a time that I thought I had it. But apparently I didn't do good enough because it's all back and it's back in full force. But I am waging war against that. And I'm about to take some extreme measures here in a little bit. I'm not going to tell anybody what those are now. And I'm not going to tell you what those measures were after I do them. But I'm going to do some extreme measures out there. I've even got my son. He is out there trying to help me out now. I got him involved in this little battle. And he's using a stick. And he has been taking that stick and he is wielding it like a sword of justice against the tyranny of these weeds. You know, he's a disciple of his father, and he's exercising the wicked vegetation from the midst of his father's property. And he's out there. He's got a stick, and he goes around and he'll whack some weeds down, and sometimes cut one, you know, big one of those trees or whatever they are back there, you know, in half, and kind of drag it around and say, "Hey, look, Daddy, I got this one." And I'm like, "Oh, there you go, son. Now go out there and get the next one." Now, actually, I usually tell him not to worry about it because I'm going to wait till the fall and this winter, and this time I'm going to do it right. And I'm not looking to try to get the weeds under control. I have no interest in controlling the weeds. I want them gone, and I don't want them coming back. You know, but someday I'm confident I will have that victory, and me and my son will stand side by side, and we'll hold our arms up, you know, in victory. That the weeds will have been gone, and they will not come back, and maybe they'll migrate to my neighbor's house or something, but they won't be in my yard. Actually, I don't want them in my neighbor's yard either because that would look bad, too, when we're sitting out in the patio and if he had all the weeds. I don't know why it bothers me so much. They're back in the corner, an area of the property that you can't even see unless you go back there. There's a garage there that blocks it and a shed. And unless you actually walk all the way back there, you would never even see it. But it's like this little corner of our property that seems like it should be something that we could use, something that we could benefit from. We could probably set up, a little patio table out there, or a little area to have a fire pit or something, or one of the little patio fireplaces that you can have, and have it out there. I just got to get it cleaned up somehow, some way, and I'm going to. And that's it. The show's over. Look at that. Right at 30 minutes. That's not bad at all. So this show is over. I have nothing left to give. There'll be another show next week. So tune in then. It seemed like there's something else I want to tell everybody, but I can't think what that is right now. But, oh well. The end of the show is here. So let me start the music. And that's all I have. Episode 2-11 of the Todd Cook Show. You know what? That's not right. This is not 2-11. I said that at the beginning of the show, too. But that is not correct. It is not episode 2-11. That was last week. This is 2-12. What was wrong with me? But anyway, 2-show is in the can. There'll be another show next week, so tune in then, and I'll talk. You listen.